About 6 months after retirement, I've found that people tend to fall into one of two groups. They're either tired all the time, very bored and fed up, completely different to how they were at work, or they seem to have a lot more energy, they seem to have purpose, and they seem to be living a much more fulfilling retirement. So what's the difference? Is it luck? Is it money? Or is it something else? Now obviously, luck and money have a part to play, but in my opinion, the most important thing for a happy, fulfilling retirement is how you choose to spend your days. So in this video, I'm going to talk through the 5 retirement hobbies that I do that have firmly kept me in the second group of people. The first 4 you'll definitely have heard of, the last one not so much. But before we get on to that, in case you're new to the channel, my name's Gary Booth. I retired in June 2025 after about 44 years working in IT and business change, and I was age 62 when I retired. And I decided to set up this channel to document what I'm doing in retirement. Leading up to retirement, it was becoming more and more obvious that I needed to do something to replace the structure and purpose that work had provided for such a long time. If I didn't do that, it was going to be very easy to drift into the boring kind of retirement that I didn't want. And I know for a fact that the 5 hobbies I'm going to talk about shortly have really helped to prevent that drift for me. And I think the reason is they all offer me slightly different things. In some of them, I have to use my hands. Others work my body. Some offer human connection, and they all work my brain. And I think it's that combination that's kept me mentally sharp, it's kept me enthusiastic, and it's made me happy and fulfilled. I really enjoy my retirement. So enough babbling on, let's get into the hobbies. I started urban sketching less than 12 months ago, and it's already become one of my most absorbing hobbies. I love everything about it, from picking a subject to getting an initial sketch down in ink to applying the colour and to seeing the end product. Each step requires your full attention, and that means that the noise of the outside world just gets shut out. It's great, it's bliss. And I think also the fact that even after just a few sketches, you can look back through your sketchbook and you can see the actual progress you've made. That's really, really satisfying. And I think the bit that keeps you sharp is that you're constantly training and refining how you observe the outside world and how you translate that through your hand onto paper. That's proper brain work, that hand-eye coordination. It's a proper mental workout. And there are 3 more bonuses as well, I think. 1, it's very cheap. You don't need lots of expensive equipment to do it. 2, it's really portable. You can take it with you wherever you go. And 3, you can pick it up and put it down even if you only got 20 minutes spare. So it easily fits into your lifestyle. I think the only downside is that perhaps your first few attempts will look like a toddler's done them. But you know, that's part of the joy as well, because when you look back through your sketchbook after 6 months, 12 months, you recognise just how far you've progressed. I treat Tai Chi and Qigong as one hobby because for me, they naturally go together. So I start each day with a short Qigong session. The purpose being to loosen my sort of stiff, achy body. And in less than 10 minutes, after a few creaks, a few cracks, a few groans, I feel really loose and ready to face the day. Now I do Tai Chi to maintain my balance, maintain my coordination, and to maintain my leg strength. And all of those are really important as we age. In the UK, falls are the biggest cause of injury in retirement age people, affecting about 1 in 3 adults aged over 65. And the most common severe injury from a fall is a hip fracture. And there are about 70 to 75,000 of those each year in the UK. And I think the scary statistic for people our age is that a year after a hip fracture, 1 in 3 over 65s will be dead. Of those that survive more than a year, only 50% ever get back to the levels of mobility that they had previously. And about 10 to 20% end up in full-time care. So it's really scary. So for me, maintaining balance, coordination, leg strength is imperative. And I think once you get into Tai Chi, it's really absorbing as well. There's always something to work on, a refinement to make. It might be a hand position. It might be a smoother weight transfer between postures. There's lots to work on. You're constantly refining your Tai Chi form. And I think the only downside is, to be honest, it looks a bit daft. And I think in the beginning, you don't really notice if it's doing anything. It's not like going to the gym where you start seeing your muscles getting bigger. So you start to question whether it's actually doing anything, whether it's worthwhile. Trust me, it is doing something and it is worthwhile. I guess to most people, classing DIY as a hobby seems a bit strange. But I class it as a hobby because I get enormous satisfaction from actually getting the exact outcome that I envisage for a DIY project, like I did with my garden gazebo. Or with my wife's dressing room. So I plan the project, I work out the steps involved, and then I actually build it. And the end result is the picture I had in my mind at the start of the project. Now, in my experience, when you employ a contractor to do the work, that's rarely the outcome you get. There's always something you're not happy with. And I think what helps to keep you mentally sharp is all the planning, the measuring, and the problem solving that's involved in any DIY project. It's real work, real brain work. It's very different to the passive kind of work your brain has to do when you're doom scrolling Netflix or your favourite social media platform. It never gets boring. There's always another project to do. There's always another skill to learn. And a really big plus is it saves me a load of money. I worked out that if I'd employed a contractor to do my garden gazebo, it probably would have cost somewhere between £1,500 and £2,000 in labour charges. And for the dressing room project, probably somewhere between £750 and £1,000. So not to be sniffed at. All it cost me was a few splinters and a bottle of Radox to soak away the aches and pains in the bath. Another big plus is it's a great excuse for me to buy lots of shiny new tools, which I love, and my wife can't complain about it. And I think the biggest plus of all, it keeps my wife very happy. I find cooking really absorbing and really relaxing, and there's a big payoff at the end that you actually get to eat what you've cooked, so that's great. I like the fact that you're constantly learning. There's lots of different skills to acquire and refine, so whether it's knife skills, different cooking techniques, it could be learning different cuisines, it's timing and sequencing. There's an awful lot involved in cooking. And the bit I enjoy probably the most, sadly, is the mise en place. which is a fancy French term for all the prep work you do before you start cooking. So it's all the weighing, the cutting, the chopping, and the arranging of ingredients to make the cooking process go smoothly, to make the cooking process calm rather than chaotic. And what I like to do often as well is turn on a few tunes, channel my inner Keith Floyd, and have either a nice drop of vino or a cold bottle of beer and get into a flow state. I find it makes the cooking process much smoother, and the end result invariably is a lot better. And it's weird that even with a bit of alcohol in the mix, it still helps with your mental sharpness, I think, because you're having to sequence things, time things. You need to bring everything together at the same time to put a meal on the plate. It keeps your brain agile. And the biggest benefit of all, I guess, is it's a sociable hobby. If I'm cooking a nice meal, invariably I like to invite friends over to share it with us. We crave human connection. This is a way of getting that, and it's important for me because a lot of my other hobbies are solo pursuits. So having a sociable hobby is key, I think. And the only downside to it is the washing up at the end, and I create an awful lot of washing up. But good thing is we've got a dishwasher. The other good thing is that if I'm cooking, the deal is somebody else stacks the dishwasher. So now it's time for the big reveal. My final hobby is, drum roll please, setting up a YouTube channel, becoming a YouTuber. Now don't switch off. I know you might be tempted to, but it's my favourite hobby. So just give me a couple of minutes to explain why. You never know, it might be the perfect hobby that you didn't realise you was missing. So there's three main reasons why this is my favourite hobby. First of all, I'm creating a digital legacy. If no one watches my videos on YouTube, which was the case for quite a while, it doesn't matter because I know that the videos will be available for future generations of my family. They'll be able to see what I was like, what I look like, what I sound like, things I care about. That's priceless to me. It's something that none of my sketchbooks could provide, or the shed full of DIY tools I've got. So that is the most important reason. The second reason is I've been on this planet 63 years. I've got a lot of wisdom and experience to share that I've derived from my career, but from life in general as well. And I'm sure there'll be some people out there who would benefit from me sharing that knowledge. So why not share it? And the third reason is it completely satisfies my creative needs. I enjoy the creation process. So having a YouTube channel, I need to come up with a video idea, I need to plan it, I need to film it, I need to edit it, I need to upload it and publish it. I enjoy every step and I'm getting better at each one. So I'm constantly learning. It's keeping me mentally sharp. And I really, really enjoy it. And it's weird because it's kind of a meta hobby. You know, I can film my urban sketching hobby. I have done. I could film my Tai Chi or my cooking. So it's kind of a container for all my other hobbies. And another thing, which wasn't really a motivation, but there is potential that at some point in the future, if the channel continues to grow, it could generate an income. So that's a nice little bonus. So what I'd say to you is if you've never thought about this before, give it some thought. You might surprise yourself. It's a really enjoyable hobby. So there you have it. 5 very different retirement hobbies that keep me mentally sharp, healthy, happy and entertained. I've made videos about a couple of them, which should appear on screen somewhere now. So if you're interested, check them out. I think the important thing about these hobbies is the fact that they're all very different. It's a variety that I think prevents me from falling into the unstructured, boring retirement trap that it's all too easy to fall into. So, if you've got any interest in retirement hobbies, let me know. I'm always interested in trying something new. If you've got any questions, let me know those as well. I'm always happy to help if I can. So until next time, take it easy.